You're going to tell them what you're looking to do in your building or in your facility, and they're going to tell you whether yes you can or no you can't. That's in the gist. That's a permit. Now, why do you need one? My name is Jose Moreno. On this podcast, we discuss current and future trends in the electrical industry. Welcome to the life of an electrical contractor. On this podcast, we discuss current and future trends in the electrical industry. Welcome to the life of an electrical contractor. In today's episode, what I wanted to focus on was on what to look for when hiring an electrical contractor. See, I know this question sits there in the back of my customers' minds, and I think a lot of the people I eventually run into and meet and consult with, they tell me ultimately, like, you know what do I need to know about hiring a contractor? You know, I just call them and that's it, right? But the reason I'm putting this episode together, or at least putting some of these ideas out there, is because there is a very specific details you do need to know prior to hiring an electrical contractor for whatever you do, whether it's something in your house or something in your building, in your office, whatever the case may be, right? So let's just get to it, and I'll kind of run through the top items that I think are very necessary and important for you to know. So one of the number one topics is your electrical contractor, your electrician that you're deciding to work with. This person needs to be licensed, and the license needs to be active. See, in my state, we're in New Jersey. So in New Jersey, they require what's called a master electrician's license, right? Now, just so you know, that's just one part of it, right? But again, I think it's very important for you to ask the question is, are you licensed, and what license do you have, right? Because ultimately, the electrical industry is very wide. There's obviously electrical installations, and then there's also something called fire alarm, right? And then there's another part called low voltage, right? Like, Cat 5 wiring, burglar alarm wiring, and that camera wiring, that type of stuff, right? So while there are different licenses, depending what license you have and in what state you're in, a master electrician's license would be all you need. But again, it's very important for you to ask this question, at least to understand. Now, the second part of this is, just because someone is licensed, it doesn't mean that they have experience in the industry, or perhaps experience in the type of work you are looking to have done at your facility, right? So it's very important for you to understand the two, right? One is to be certified, and another thing is to have experience in that type of work. So again, I think it's very important that you guys ask this question, and at least, ask them. I mean, ultimately, what you're doing is you're building a relationship with somebody. So what better way than just to ask questions, right? So the next thing is this is a huge one. And there's so many levels to this thing that I think I could probably do a show just on this alone, but I figured I'd just kind of run it through and give you a quick detail on it, right? Is the company insured? I think it's in this day and age, we have insurance for everything, right? You have insurance for the phone you carry around, right? You have insurance for everything. You go buy a TV, they tell you, oh, you want to add insurance. You want to buy this. Oh, you want to have insurance. So now, why wouldn't you ask your electrical contractor, are you insured, right? Now, here's the next part to this. This is where I said this has many levels, right? So every state has different rules and different requirements, right? Always check with your state, right? But just so you know, the states, what they require is always the minimum, right? It's always it's a standard they set, and this is why they're called minimum, right? They're called state requirements. They're most of the time minimum requirements, right? Again, it's important for you to ask what type of insurance and what levels are they carrying, right? So now I'm going to break it into a little bit of what type of insurances perhaps are necessary and are important for you to ask, right? One is obviously liability insurance, right? Two is vehicle insurance. Three is workman's comp insurance. And four is an umbrella insurance. Now, obviously, there's more there's more to this, but these are the top 4 that I would tell you to ask and focus on, right? So obviously liability is easy, right? You know, it's the insurance on the actual performance of this contractor at your facility, right? Okay. Vehicle insurance. Well, why is vehicle insurance important to you? Well, here's the reason why vehicle insurance is important to you. If you have a facility or a parking lot of some sorts, if this person is driving around his vehicle, his work van, whatever, around your parking lot, and he gets into an accident with whatever, backs into something, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Well, it's very important for you to know if this person actually has the right insurance to even be driving around that vehicle in your facility, right? So again, it's I can go into a whole nother spiel about vehicle insurance, but it's very important that you actually check that the vehicle insurance has commercial listed insurance, not just personal insurance, basically, right? The next part is workman's comp. I mean, workman's comp, what does that mean? Just so you know, here's a tidbit. In New Jersey, and I'm not really sure if in any other states as well, but in New Jersey, if you're a one-man shop, right, you're just one person working, you don't need to carry workman's comp insurance. Technically, you waive it. You waive your right because you're the sole proprietor, and you technically are saying, I don't want workman's comp insurance. If I get hurt, since I am the owner of this business, I don't need insurance. Now, again, I'm saying that's in New Jersey. I don't know any other states, but that's if you are the only owner and you are the sole proprietor and you are the only employee within your firm. But as soon as you have more than one employee, right, that's it. You got to carry workman's comp insurance, and it's the law, okay? And there's different types of workman's comp insurance, okay? Obviously, we're electricians, so we carry electrical workman's comp, right? Obviously, a carpenter has its own type of insurance, a plumber, and so on. Even our office staff has a different, they're called, I believe it's called clerical. So again, it's different codes. I'm sure in the industry that you do, everything has a different code, and this is no different, right? All right. One of the last ones I want to talk about, which I think is something I probably learned about 10 years ago, was umbrella insurance. You know, what's umbrella insurance? And this is why it goes actually back to the vehicle insurance. So umbrella insurance is this. It's basically, what does an umbrella do, right? You open it up and it protects you from the rain, right? So what an umbrella insurance is, in a nutshell, is you have liability insurance, whatever that max is, or per occurrence, or whatever it is, you know. Let's just say it's 3 to 5 million a year liability insurance. But God forbid you're involved in something that is, you know, bigger than that, right? And it goes right through that liability, right? Let's say your vehicle insurance, again, God forbid you're in some type of pile up or something, and it boom, it blows right through the levels that's set up. That's what that umbrella is there for. But here's the deal. For you to have an umbrella insurance, you need to have all your insurance requirements at match the minimum level. If the minute one of them is not at the same rate, that umbrella insurance could actually go into question. So again, this is something I learned, like I said, like 10 years ago, while, you know, expanding and learning about new things, and most importantly, learning to carry more insurance, right? So again, you know, remember to check the state requirements, right? It's always important to know that what the state asks you to carry is always the minimum, right? Also understand, are the vehicles and the equipment the contractor is bringing into your facility and working within your facility is insured, right? The umbrella insurance, which is what I mentioned to you. And, you know, last but not least is that workman's comp. You know, that workman's comp is if that employee, God forbid, gets hurt on your premises, there's an insurance policy to take care of that, all right? You don't want them going after you for some wild reason, saying, hey, I tripped over an extension cord in your office. You know, listen, if that was there, so be it. That's why that's why you carry workman's comp insurance, and it doesn't spill over into your customer or you, the client, insurance situation, right? So, all right. The next thing is the company bond. Is the company bonded, right? Now, you know, I don't really want to talk about this one too much because in New Jersey, you're required to have a license. To have a license, and actually in New Jersey, I know I mentioned before, you need to have a license, but you actually to actually perform electrical contracting, right? Go into contracts with customers. You actually need to have something called a business permit. That allows you to now actually, create a bit, sell a job, right? Create a value, exchange money for a specific act that you do, right? Again, in New Jersey, you need a business permit. And part of that whole idea is for you to have a business permit and a license associated to a company in the state of New Jersey. The company needs to be bonded. Again, the bonding itself, it's not very expensive. And to tell you the truth, I'm not really sure how much it covers. I would highly focus on the insurance and, liability, vehicle, workman's comp, umbrella. That's where I would focus 100% on, right? Now there is something called bonded work, and that's more when you do, government work. So, when we do government work, we have that's a completely different topic. We actually purchase a bond, to do the job. For whatever reason, we don't complete the job or we're not able to, satisfy the job requirements. That bond, that insurance policy kicks in and takes care of it, Again, that's a different topic, but I just wanted to make sure you guys understand it too. The next thing that I think is very important for you guys to, out there when you're looking for an electrical contractor to come perform a service for you, or even if you're like, listen, here's a typical thing. Hey, Jose, we have a new machine coming in. We're looking to get it wired. Can you send someone down to, take a look and see where we're looking to put it, and if we have the right infrastructure to support this machine, right? So right away, some of the things we ask is, make sure you have the specifications of the equipment, right? And depending on the client that does call us, we know the infrastructure of some of these buildings, so we actually do some of the groundwork in our office, right? But again, if it's a brand new customer, again, it'd be important to say like, okay, make sure you have the specifications of your equipment. Make sure you know where you're going to put it, obviously. Make sure you have access to your building, so when we do go on site, we're able to walk around and see what type of infrastructure you actually have, and if it's going to be able to actually support this piece of equipment, right? But all right, the very important thing for you to understand as a client, as a customer, is this person, this electrical contractor you're looking to bring into your facility, does he or she have experience in the type of work you're asking for, you're looking to get done, the one that you're actually looking for help in getting done for you, right? See, the electrical industry is very, very, very wide. And some people can say that they're commercial electricians, and they are, but they may work in what's called a high-rise building, right? Technically, they're working with sort of commercial style materials, if you would say, but they're basically doing residential work, skyscraper work, right? Unless they're doing the main structure, right? The main structure of the building, the building, obviously that's the bread and the blood, the organs of the building. That's a whole another topic. But again, if you're a manufacturer, or if you're a let's say a developer looking to put up a warehouse, or you're let's just say a doctor's office looking to remodel, or something in that nature, you want to know that this person you're bringing into, that you're asking for help, right? That you're asking a service from, has an idea or has a track record for that type of work, right? At least it's best that you ask. If the person honestly tells you, no, I don't have experience in this, and you decide to go with them, well, that's also your decision, right? And at least you asked, and there's no curveballs later on, right? At the end of the day, we all got to learn, right? We all got to start somewhere. So really, it's also not a bad thing that the person doesn't have experience. The biggest part is, do you understand? Do you know? And are you aware that this person doesn't or does have experience in what you're asking for? Next thing that's, I think, very important is, warranty, right? What is a warranty? I mean, this thing is like this is a word that gets tossed around a lot. Warranty, warranty this, warranty that, I guarantee this, I guarantee that. I mean, again, I'm going to go back to my state's laws, and this in New Jersey, the state says you must give a 1-year warranty. Now, obviously that's a 1-year warranty labor, right? Materials sometimes have a little bit more depending on the manufacturer you purchase from. And again, we can go into a whole array of topics in regarding this stuff, right? But most importantly, I think what you could do is you can contact your consumer affairs division in your state and just find out what are the warranty laws and times, right? Because technically warranties begin from issuance of certificate of occupancy, right? Or perhaps issuance of temporary certificate of occupancy. Obviously, those words that I'm using, that's for a new construction or some type of addition that you perhaps did to your building of some sort. So if we're talking about like like I said the client that I was talking about before, hey Jose, can we bring in a new machine and blah 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 blah. There's really going to be no certificate of occupancy, right? We're going to probably pull a permit for it, and eventually the inspector will come out and look at it. And but by that time, the machine will be ready to run. Really, from that point, the warranty would be issued. Now, again, depending on who you work, type of company you work for, or what type of company you are working for, most of these jobs, the way we work is we get issued a purchase order. So when we get issued a purchase order, that's when we go to town, right? So again, it's important for you to know what type of warranties, and also to understand the time frame, right? And here's another tidbit too: is companies always offer more warranty depending on the type of service they're delivering, and it's always best to just simply ask. What kind of a warranty do you give? We just went through a project where it was a very large lighting project, and the materials, the lighting fixtures themselves came with a 5-year warranty, right? That's 100%, labor included. So if one of those fixtures goes bad within 5 years, the company actually will pay us to go and replace that fixture. And of course, the customer is 100% secure that what? The fixtures that he or she bought are 100% covered for 5 years, right? So now, those are the type of things that you can buy extra on. And again, generators sometimes come with an additional warranty or additional guarantee or warranty you can purchase. So always ask. Here's the question: is ask. At least Listen, if there is no warranty or there's nothing, at least right? It's not like later on you're gonna be like, hey Jose, is there any warranty on this? It's like, no, there isn't. And now you may get upset because Jose or somebody told you no, there's no warranty, when you could have just found out from the beginning and you could have avoided all these things, right? All right, so the next thing is the work that you're doing, will it require permits? So again, I have to refer to the state that I'm in, and in the way the state laws here are, if you're pulling any new wiring of any sort, you're pulling any new conduit, anything like that, you're required to pull a permit, right? What's a permit? It's basically you just literally asking your local jurisdiction, right? Your town, your township, your city office, basically your building department. You're asking, you're going to tell them what you're looking to do in your building or in your facility, and they're going to tell you whether yes you can or no you can't. That's in the gist. That's a permit. Now, why do you need one? Well, here's the importance of why you need one. Say you don't get one, right? And for some reason, the local electrical inspector or building inspector or whatever inspector drives by your building and sees a couple of electrical contracting vans parked in the lot. Decides to go in, decides to check it out, and sees that perhaps you're doing a whole nother project over there, right? Well, now you're in quite of a you're in some trouble. Put it like that. Okay. Not just you as the customer, but also the contractor. So again, I think it's important in anything is as you build a relationship, is for your contractor to tell you, to also ask of you, like, hey, listen, we have to follow the laws, right? And the laws are get an electrical permit, get an electrical permit. Again, in New Jersey, depending on what you do, if it's an emergency job, you actually can go ahead and do the job and apply for the permit within, I think it's 48 hours or something like that. Basically, do not shy away from a permit. There's a reason why they're there. There's a reason why there's an electrical inspector. And again, depending on who you work with and who your electrical contractor is, it's probably best that it is inspected for the sake of everyone's insurance. All right. Another item that's very important is references, right? So the question is, can you ask your electrical contractor, hey, listen, I want to work with you, but I want to see something, right? I want to see some of your, show me some references, or show me a scrapbook, show me some pictures, For the most part, I guess if you go on someone's website, you can probably look around and be like, oh, look, some of our work, right? But like I said before, this is all about relationships, right? So when you speak to the person you're working with, ask them, do you have any references? Let's say I have a manufacturing building and whatever, food processing plant, right? Well, I think it'd be good to ask the guy who's coming into our facility, be like, hey, Jesse, have you worked with this type of, equipment before? Have you worked with this type of conveyor belt before? And Jesse says, yes, I have. Okay. You know what? You can also ask, may I ask where? You see, real simple. And at least at that point, you'll also get a little bit peace of mind, because at the end of the day, you as a customer, if you're a facilities manager or you're a project manager of some sorts in one of these facilities, listen, I get it. You're entrusting someone to come into this building, handle a task that was entrusted to you, and now you are willingly having to give it to someone else to do it, because obviously you're not an electrician, right? And at that point, I can understand the hesitation. All right, I can understand the hesitation. The same thing. If I get contracting work done in my house or in my office or in my building, I'm not just gonna give it to whoever it is, right? I'm gonna give it to somebody. I'm gonna hire someone that I can trust, right? So if it's in my house, like, okay, I'll give you an example. Last year, I did my kitchen, right? Right before Corona hit, I did my kitchen, and you know what? It was real easy to just cancel the job and not go with it. But guess what? My kitchen was already upside down, right? I trust this guy. I know who they were. I know the guys that were coming. We did do our due diligence and covered some stuff up so we can be able to continue. But I trusted them, right? And guess what? It was good that I went with someone I trusted, because a lot of contractors stopped working. This guy kept working, and he actually got my kitchen up and running within a month in the middle of Corona. So, but again, that's just a story, just to know, again, who exactly are you going into a relationship with, right? So it's very important for you to ask what this person does, and if they have any any pictures or any references that you can actually go back on and even call if you had to, right? Another big topic. See, I'm one guy here, right? And I think if you've heard my previous episode, I told you that we are like 20 plus people, and you know what? I'm one guy though, right? So it's very important for you to ask when you are going to hire somebody, is who's exactly going to do this project. See, I mentioned before, we run like 5 crews. We have office staff. We have all these things going on, right? See, at the beginning, a lot of people would say, oh, Jose, okay, here, I'll sign the contract with you. Okay. And then when I would send the people to go work, they'd be like, oh, no, you can't work here. We hired Jose. And, that was part of my fault for not communicating correctly with the client, right? Like, listen, we're a company. Okay. And if I'm the one doing the sales on this particular project, perhaps I sold you the job based on my consulting or based on our initial conversation or whatever the case may be. Ultimately, who's going to do the job is going to be another set of technicians that actually go out and execute, right? But for you, it's important for you to know, because if you don't know, what if you hired, you hired Jesse to do the electrical work, and all of a sudden, Jason and Miguel show up to do the job. Like who is Jason? Who's Miguel? Like I don't know who you are. So it's important for you to communicate, and it's important for you to ask your contractor who is going to be doing the job. And of course, do they know what they're doing, right? Are they experienced with this facility? So very, 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 very important details they're just best to get them out at the beginning instead of when the job starts, right? Another giant detail is, can you actually speak to this person, right? See, I remember when I first started in business, one of the first things people would tell me is, can you speak? Oh, I'm sorry. It was, make sure you can speak to your accountant freely. Make sure you can speak to your lawyer freely. And you know what? I didn't know what that meant. Like, what does that mean? Can I speak to my accountant or lawyer freely? Well, as the years went by, I realized what it was. I couldn't speak to my accountant. I actually felt like I couldn't talk to him, right? Eventually, I ended up moving on to another accountant, and now the accountant I can have an active conversation with, right? Same thing with this. Look at us as your consultant. Look at us as the people that can be there to help you solve that situation that you have, right? But we can't help you if you don't talk to us. And vice versa. You can't get help if that contractor can't talk to you. So it's very important for you to have that, to get that feeling from the beginning. Can I talk to this guy? Is this someone I can speak to? First of all, is this someone I can call? Because how often can you, I'll be honest, like me, sometimes it's difficult to get through me in certain times because I'm doing certain things. But listen, if we set up a call, I'm on that call. And you know what? Our office, you can call our office. That somebody will be there, pick up the phone. It'll get routed whichever way, and the right person will get to it right away. But it's important for you to know if you actually can physically speak to this person about the situation you're having. Listen, jobs will have situations arise, okay? There is no perfect job. Things will always happen. Things will arise. A piece of material came in wrong. Something changed. Plans moved. Timelines got cross-wired. You name it, it happens. And at that point, it's going to be very important for you to have that freedom, for you to have that ability to actually speak to this person, right? So very important to be able to just literally speak to them, right? Another question that's important is, especially if you're a facility and you're an ongoing, some of the people we work for, they're 24-hour facilities, right? So they're all year round. I know right now with COVID and everything, some of their shifts have changed, and perhaps the amount of people inside the buildings is not as much as normally. But this, for the most part, a lot of them are still, they're starting to really ramp up, right? And an important question for you to know from this new partner you're going into business with is, do they handle emergency calls? Are they available for emergencies? Because once again, I mean, if you go through the whole list that I was talking about, right? If you go through everything that I mentioned before, and you have this connection to this electrical contractor or this man or this woman that you can actually speak to and you feel comfortable with, what you want to know is like, oh my God, there's an emergency. Jose, we need a guy here right now. Why not just ask? I mean, there's only two things that can go, yes or no, right? So very simple. Ask the question, get it. Now you know it. You can pass it along to all your teammates and be like, hey, listen, and if for some reason I'm on vacation and there's an emergency, call this company because they're on our list for, emergencies. All right. Another thing that's very high on people's agendas, especially in facilities, is safety programs, right? Does your company have an active safety program? What does that mean? And there's different levels to this thing, so I'm just going to go by through a very quick one. But what's an active safety program? Are the people, have they gotten their training, right? When I say training, there's OSHA, there's also OSHA 10, there's OSHA 30. Do they have the training in the equipment they use? If they drive scissor lifts of any kind, are they certified to ride those scissor lifts? Are they Are they experienced with them? Then there's also individual training programs that most companies have, right? Because there's safety safety is practiced. Okay, it's not practice makes perfect, because it'll never be. But safety is something that's practiced. So you must actively practice being safe, right? Now, when I say being safe is working in a safe environment, creating a safe environment to work in, to perform the project in, right? Too many times when accidents do occur, it simply happens because the people were not paying attention to the situations that were happening around them. So in these safety programs, they're they're set up that way, right? Some people call them, I think it's called Toolbox talks and stuff like that. Ours are called a little different, but again, they're conversations that, particular crews talk about. And then again, depending on where you work at, you may have a quarterly meeting where a lot of you guys come together and be like, okay, bring up some of the things that have come up and how can we, what would be a situation that we can handle it differently? Or even if someone actually went through something as, look, we went through this, what would you recommend the next time? So it's very important for you to know about safety programs. And here's another one too. A lot of buildings that you might work in, they might have their own safety program, and you perhaps have to ask to make sure that you're able to meet that criteria, that you're able to meet that requirement. So again, it's important for you to speak to your electrical contractor. And electrical contractors are important to speak to your client and say, hey, listen, is there a safety program that I must adhere to at this facility? If so, please let me know so I can meet that criteria, right? Because at the end of the day, it's always a two-way street, right? In electrical work, right? You don't want to be babysitting these guys, right? You're not going to be able to, ultimately you hire somebody so they can do their job so you can do what? Continue to do yours, right? So you don't want to be on top of these guys necessarily, and you don't want to necessarily have to be babysitting them or assign somebody to babysit them, right? So you want to make sure these people can handle, can work on their own, right? So again, it's very important to be able to have these conversations regarding safety and perhaps the building's requirements, right? Another topic that we run into a lot is because of these facilities that we work in that are 24-hour, 365 a year facilities is we can't disrupt the ongoing production, right? So it's important for you to discuss it's extremely important because this is part of scheduling, right? For you to ask your client, ask your contractor, do you work off hours? Will you work around our hours? See, a lot of the times we have to work at night. Some of the times we have to work on a Saturday, Sunday, holiday weekends. You name it, we're there, right? Why? Because perhaps where we're working at or the service we're delivering for that particular client needs to be done in a specific place where for us to work there safely, things need to shut down. And for things to shut down, it means no production. And if there's no production, well, you name it. Obviously, that is how you make money, and that is how ultimately you're looking to invest in your building, and which is why you're in the first place calling us to perhaps come wire a new piece of equipment, right? So extremely important for you to get that detail out where it's like, do you provide service off hours? Is that something you guys do? Because ultimately, if you are one of those facilities, you will require someone to come in after hours, a Saturday, Sunday, holiday weekend, you name it, it's there. So as far as for us, that's our bread and butter. That is where we just shine, really. We over deliver. Clients require us to be there at a specific time, a specific day, and we're there. Why? Because we know how important it is for your production to happen, right? If you have no production, we have no work, right? Because there's a reason why you called us, right? You called us because you need to either add more equipment or do some changes, and there'll be no reason for us if you're not producing. So we take that. It's very important to us. Put it like that. And it'd be very important for you to know that the person you're working with has that same mentality, has that same connection with your production, right? At the end of the day, to make this real simple is when you're looking to hire an electrical contractor and you've already worked through all these things, right? You've gone through the whole list of stuff. We get to something called price, right? And I've seen so many times people, it's almost like it's a race to the bottom, right? It's a race to get to the low number. And the important here, the extremely important notion here is, are you looking for a competing price? Because if you're looking for a competitive price, then that's one thing, right? But ultimately, what you want to focus on, what you want to make sure you receive is value. I mean, simple as that. You want to make sure that what you're going to get for your dollars is of an extreme value. Now, I'm not going to say that the lowest price won't deliver value to you. That's going to be ultimately for you to decide. But I think it's important for you to know what you're looking for and what you're getting into business with, right? See, because if you're solely searching for price, right? That's all you care about. I just need the cheapest price. You're going to find it, bro. You're going to find it. But ultimately, I am in the field of understanding I'm in the field of delivering value. Put it like that. Simple as that. So if I'm in the field of delivering value and you are the client looking for value, right? Because you're looking for, I need somebody to take care of this situation I have. You're looking for it to get done the right way the first time, right? Right way, first time, with minimal issues for you, right? It's important for you to know what exactly are you looking for. Are you looking for a low price or you're looking for value, right? And value is not just money. I know a lot of times people say value is money, right? Value is money. Well, it's not just value. I mean, yeah, value obviously is based on cost and stuff, but there's more items to what value is, right? And obviously it all depends on what you value. Ultimately, for you to understand value, you must understand what you value. So to me, when I say value is one of the biggest things that I can put on value is trust. See, trust is what gets it going, right? See, if I don't trust someone, how can I deliver anything for them? I don't trust them, right? So I think that's the part where it's like, you must be able to trust this person. And again, if you go through the whole list, one of the biggest things is, can you actually speak to this person, right? And that helps you develop this trust, right? Especially if you're a brand new client, it's a brand new relationship, right? That's how you build that trust, right? Another thing is, do you feel comfortable that this team can handle the task you're asking of, right? Perhaps you feel like confident. Yes, they can. Perhaps you feel that they can. At that point, once again, is what's value to you, right? See, there's so many things that go into that whole situation if they can handle this thing. Do they have the right experience? Do they have the right manpower? Do they have the right capacity to handle this project in your timeline, right? Do they have the right equipment, And then after you ask yourself all those questions, ask yourself, what does peace of mind actually cost you? Because if ultimately peace of mind costs you the low bid, then go with the low bid, But if peace of mind equals value to you, then go with the bid that delivers the most value for you. And guess what? Sometimes it is the lower bid. And I'm not going to say that you always got to go with the high bid, because no, sometimes it is the lower bid. A lot of the times we actually are low bid. Why? Because we we know what our clients want. We know how to deliver for them. There's no, we cut all the BS out, man. We go right to it. We know exactly what you need. We don't give you extra because you don't need it. You know exactly what you need, and we know exactly what you're demanding. So at times we are a little bit, right? Other times we're not. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it comes down to just asking yourself, what does peace of mind cost you? With that, now I'm bringing the show to an end. And remember to comment, share this with anyone that you think will benefit from this, and hit that subscribe button, and see you on the next one.